Craftsman and Chicago Motor Speedway, where we are set for the Sears Craftsman 175. Or actually, the clouds are clearing over downtown Chicago a few miles away. We have had rain for much of the morning, but the rains have moved away, and track drying has continued. The track is getting drier as the skies are getting bluer. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Busch Series and Winston Cup veteran Phil Parsons. Glad you could join us here today. We expected to be able to go racing very quickly, but the track drying is continuing. We should be just a few minutes away from firing the trucks and getting underway. So we'll take a moment or two to pause and talk about this incredible year in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Doc, it's been fantastic. Dodgers dominated early on, and then the Chevrolets came on, and then now it's been back and forth between Dodge and Chevrolet. But got a terrific point battle here, and it's any one of the top 10 is mathematically eligible to win this thing. But realistically, the top 7 are really in the hunt.
Owen Kearns, who's the PR director for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, did the math this week and said actually with 8 events remaining, as many as 17 drivers still could mathematically win the series championship. That's incredible with 8 to go. Now take a look. 130 points separate the top 5 after 16 events. Only 32 separate Riggs from Ruttman. Jack Sprague, who was last week's point leader, back in 3rd spot after trouble at Nashville, Tennessee. How about a couple of rookies? Travis Kvapil, 4th and 5th. Ted Musgrave, a 4-time winner, back in 6th. He's still got a chance. Terry Cook getting better and better. 2 great runs. 2nd at IRP, 6th at Nashville. He's back 7th in points. Dennis Setzer, Rick Crawford, and Coy Gibbs in the top 10. Let's go ahead and talk to our points leader, who's also our pole sitter. Joe Ruttman standing by with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, the big question earlier when we got ready to go qualifying was Joe Ruttman sandbagging? He was about 13th in practice all throughout the day, but then when it came time to put down the fast lap, the driver did it. So were you sandbagging, Joe? What was the story there in qualifying?
As the other guys listen to this, yeah, I was sandbagging. I had a lot left. And also in a happy hour, I was sandbagging really big. No, we weren't. It was just all we had. In the happy hour, we were not good. So maybe this rain might be a reverse advantage because all the other guys were extremely good. But the Dana Dodge was okay in practice, but not really great.
You won the race here a year ago, but you certainly weren't the dominant truck that day. What's it going to take to keep this Dana Dodge up front all day long today here in Chicago?
Well, you win and lose in the corners, and right in the center of the corners, what you got to look for, and the guy that can swoop through the middle is the guy that's going to win. And we were not real good at the in happy hour, and we're not good in practice either. I don't know how I think the other guys really slowed up. I didn't really pick up in qualifying, but it's neat to be on the pole and worry Jack a little bit along the way.
Is Sprague the guy to beat?
I'd say I hate to name them, but the 1 and the 2 and the 24. I don't know who drives them, but I think they're the ones they're probably going to have to watch for.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on all those trucks, and I believe Amy is standing by with the guy who drives that 24 truck, Jack Sprague.
Thanks, Ray. And after 2 big wins at Loudon and Indianapolis Raceway Park, Jack Sprague went to Nashville last weekend and didn't even get to take the green flag with the field. Jack, for those people that didn't see last week's race, what happened?
Well, it's just one of them freak deals. I mean, the coil wire got nicked, and then the second part of the freak is that it got overlooked in pre-racing, going through the truck. So just one of them deals. That's the first time in my career I've not made it to the green flag, but I tell you, I'm committed to getting this thing on the right track, as is Dennis Conner and the whole Net Zero team, and we're going to be fine.
Well, there's been a lot of firsts for you so far this year. First half of the season, it's been bad luck, blown engines, miscues on pit stops. But now we're in the second half of the season, and you're a point contender. Did you think at the beginning of the year that you'd be in run for another championship?
Well, certainly we wanted to believe so before the year started, and as it went on, it got a little iffy. But the fortunate thing is this truck has been extremely competitive all year, and unfortunately we've had some trouble, and we've beaten ourselves a little bit. But we've got 8 races left. We're in good shape. This thing's still fast. It's fast here in Chicago. So, hey, we'll just go to the end of the year and try to win a 3rd championship. These guys are working as hard as they can, and I'm doing all I can do, and if it works out, great.
Okay, and Jack Sprague is definitely going to try to have a better better finish than he had here last year. That was 17th, and another guy that finished poorly here is our 3rd point contender, and he's standing by with Ray Dunlap.
And Amy, that would be Scott Riggs, and Scott has 4 victories so far this season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and a dominant one a week ago. But today, you're back in the middle of the pack. What's going on with the 2 truck this week, Scott?
Well, nothing really. We had a great practice. We were pretty quick in practice. We had a great happy hour. We were the quickest actually in happy hour. Just a little too loose there when we taped off for qualifying. just got a little too loose on us and, put us back here in 11th spot. But, we're going to take our time and try to work our way up to the front and try to salvage a good finish out of this. All the guys on the team, ASC, Carquest, Dodge, work the same way every week. They do their best, and we just missed qualifying a little bit, but we're going to work our way up to the front.
Okay, let's talk about the driver. A lot of guys here are shifting. You've done it a little bit. You did in qualifying, but you didn't a lot in happy hour. So what's the secret going to be today to have a fast truck?
Well, I think everybody's going to need the ability to shift. I think that, when you're out by yourself, the best way to keep the momentum up for us is going to be able to not shift unless the track really slows down or really tightens up, where you have to slow down so much in the corners that you need to shift to get off the corner good. So I think everybody needs to be able to, and I think you'll see people shifting and not shifting all through the race.
Okay, so a lot of strategy involved today here inside the driver's compartment. Doc?
And thank you very much, Ray and Amy. So who knows which among those three will be the points leader when this day is over, because it's been very, very difficult to be at the top of the point standings. Just 32 points or 43 points separate the top three right now, because take a look back July 7th. Ruttman, Kansas finished 24th. Riggs takes the point lead. August, again, a swap, and Sprague takes the point lead after a tough day at IRP, or night at IRP for Scott Riggs. And then last week, Phil, Sprague at Nashville, Tennessee, as he said, didn't make it to the green flag. That's almost unheard of. Started 11 laps down, only finished 9 laps down, so had a great race once he got going, but it cost him 2 spots in the points. He's back in third, and Ruttman takes the points lead, so maybe being at the top is not a good place to be.
Doc, there's no guarantee that one of these three guys is going to lead the points. We've got back and forth. You've got Travis Quapple, who's only 75 points out. If these three guys have any kind of trouble at all, then Travis Quapple could leave here with a point lead.
Absolutely. In fact, still a dozen or so can win the championship. How about a visit to the Chicago Motor Speedway by Benny the Bull? The Chicago Bulls logo on the side of Ricky Hendrick's truck. Back in just a moment. And for the really big jobs, how about this Craftsman tool? Pretty good sized screwdriver on top of the infield media center at Chicago Motor Speedway and the home of Sears Craftsman. We get set for the Sears Craftsman 175. And by the way, a tip of the hat to Gene Haskett and his staff here at Chicago Motor Speedway, working very hard. The track is almost dry. The drivers are in their trucks. So let's show you where they will start today as we give you a preview of our Mopar starting grid. And there we mentioned Joe Ruttman and Jack Sprague on the front row. Lance Norrick ties his best ever qualifying effort. Great run for the Bearing Chevrolet back in third spot. How about Kyle Busch? 16 years, 3 months, and 16 days of age. His second ever start in the series. He starts back in fifth. Rick Crawford coming off his best run of the year, third last week at Nashville Superspeedway. There's Sears Craftsman, Ricky Hendrick, Travis Quapple in the top 10. There is Scott Riggs, who was the points leader, starting just outside the top 10.
Jimmy Hensley back in the MetLife Chevy starts 16th. Chicago native Bobby Dodder starts 20th. Preston Tutt makes his first series start, and Bobby Hamilton's Dodge starts 23rd. And 27th will be Brendan Gaughan, a second and a third earlier this year.
And the final 6 starters, Coy Gibbs taking his first ever provisional start in the MB&A Chevrolet. They had to go to a backup truck. We'll explain that a little later on. And there's Powers, Christensen, Jason Tom, and Doug Keller rounding out the top 36 starters that took provisional starting spots here in the starting field. Now, we told you Lance Norrick equaled his best ever qualifying effort. He's standing by with Ray.
Well, actually, Jerry, he's sitting by because he's actually gotten into the Adventist Bearing Chevrolet ready to go. And actually, these drivers get a little bit nervous when it comes to this time because they've been just sitting in here and had a lot of time to think. So, Lance, with a great qualifying effort, what's going through your mind right now as we get ready to go racing at Chicago?
I'm just hoping we get this race in. This AB Choice Chevrolet has been great since we unloaded here this weekend. These guys on my crew they really worked hard this week to get this truck here, and we were good when we get off the truck, and we got 250 people here in the stands watching us today from Aventus, bunch of kids and all their families, and hopefully we get out to go racing today.
You have a little sticker here on your dash that says stay focused. I know that's one of the things they have to remind you. The crew chief will be talking to you throughout the race today, but can you stay focused and stay there to hang with Jack Sprague and Ted Musgrave and Ruttman and these guys? I think so. Since John Munson came on board, he's helped our team tremendously. We've been running better each week, and we've been running with these guys. I think this weekend we surprised a lot of people. In happy hour, we were fast. We were running with Ruttman and those guys, and
it's a long race today. The guys have been working hard on their pit stops, and we'll see what happens today.
Okay, that's Lance Norick, rolls off third today, matching his best ever qualifying effort. He's fired up and ready to go, waiting for him to throw the green.
Thank you very much, Ray. Lance Norick has a great program. He and the sponsor, Adventus Bearing, have a program called Victory Lane Kids. And what they do each week, folks, is they come in 2 or 3 days early and go visit hospitals and visit youngsters who have coagulation problems, have bleeding problems like hemophiliacs. And early in the week, Lance came in and made 2 hospital visits here. He went to Children's Memorial on Wednesday and on Thursday to Rush Presbyterian Hospital in the Chicago area. Plus, they invite about 200 or 300 youngsters and their families out, give them hats, and have a hospitality area beforehand. And the Adventus Bearing people do a lot of research to try to develop plasma products to help the coagulation therapies. And these kids really thoroughly enjoy coming out here and being a part of that program.
But, Doc, what Lance Norick has done on the racetrack lately has been really good. But what he does off the racetrack with these kids and goes to these hospitals, that is incredible. And that, at the end of the day, that's going to mean a whole lot more than what happens on this racetrack.
He told me that last year he was here and visited a youngster at Rush Presbyterian, a newborn that was so tiny, all you could see was the cables and cords and lines in the intensive care nursery. They went back this year, and the young man by the name of Tyler was having his first birthday, and Lance said we all stood there with tears rolling down our cheeks to celebrate a special day for this young man and a special person to these youngsters here, Adventus Bearing, Lance Norick, and their entire Victory Lane program kids. And he has his best chance to win today here because he starts in the top 4. And if you look at our series throughout the year, all the winners, every single one of them have come in the top 4 starting spots. Ruttman won from the pole at Chicago a year ago. 6 of our winners have started on the pole this year. So Craftsman has given away $60,000. They pay $10,000 to win from the pole. And the only driver to win from 4 starting spot, Dennis Setzer at Memphis, Tennessee a few weeks ago. Maybe Lance Norick can get his first win. I know he has one fan in Tyler watching from Rush Presbyterian. Back in just a moment. And for all the news and information about motorsports around the world, tune into RPM Today. That's coming your way tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Pacific, and RPM tonight at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's RPM. All the news, your nightly source for motorsports. And, of course, every night of the week, John Kernan hosting RPM Tonight. Well, just a moment ago, they fired the engines up here on pit road. 36 trucks set to battle for $486,000 in the Sears Craftsman 175. And there is a youngster. We do meet a youngster, by the way, driving the 99, the Eldon Ford. Great day for Eldon. They've had a pretty good year all year. But this young man, remember the name, Kyle Busch. He is the younger brother of Kurt Busch. He is 16 years, 3 months, and 16 days old, making his second start. And what an effort Max Jones and the entire Roush team have had this year. Take a look at the rotating roster for Roush drivers.
But, Doc, I think right now they're trying, number one, they've tried to find some direction with their program. And they've got John Wood, who's 19 years old, and as you mentioned, Kyle Busch, that's 16 years old. That will pay extreme dividends as time goes on. They really will prepare for next year with those guys getting a lot of good experience this year, and they'll be ready to come out fighting next year.
And it guarantees at the Christmas party they will have to serve ginger ale, by the way. There are 2 drivers who are 16 and 19. And by the way, Greg Biffle, who had a tough day at Michigan today, the NASCAR Busch Series, he will drive the number 99 next week at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. We're on at 12:30 next Sunday from Nazareth. And Biffle, the defending series champion, will be aboard the Eldon Ford. Benny the Bull cheering them on here is a great sports town, Chicago, Illinois. Benny, get them going, buddy. They head on to the racetrack as the track is drying. We come back with a green flag, exciting Craftsman Truck Series action in just a moment. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series rolls into the windy city of Chicago, and remarkably, every driver in the top 10 still has a mathematical chance of winning the championship. But with only 8 races left, time is running out. Since the season began, only 3 drivers have sat atop the series standings, and each in turn have suffered his share of turmoil and troubles. Number 1 on the chart today is Joe Ruttman, winner of the season opener at Daytona and defending race champion here at Chicago. Will he hold on, or will we see a 4th different points leader in as many weeks? It's a showdown in Chi-Town to determine NASCAR's top craftsman. And for the last 2 consecutive weeks, the man sitting atop the points has experienced trouble early, but apparently no one told Joe Rutland, as the points leader this week is also our pole sitter. Last week's points leader, Jack Sprague, now 3rd in the standings, starts 2nd, and with just 130 points separating the top 5, a lot could change today if one of these top contenders becomes our Windy City winner. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents NASCAR. Today live from Chicago, Illinois, home to series title sponsor Craftsman, we present the 2nd annual Sears Craftsman 175 at Chicago Motor Speedway. 36 trucks and drivers are on the track. Let's take a look at our Mopar starting grid. As we told you, Rutland and Sprague will lead them down in row 1. Lance Norrick equals his best ever qualifying effort. The Advanced Bearing Chevrolet starts 3rd. How about young Kyle Busch starting in 5th spot? Only his 2nd ever NASCAR Craftsman truck start. Row 5, all rookies, Hendrick and Quappel. And rounding out the top 15, Billy Bigley, another rookie out of Naples, Florida.
Jimmy Hensley back in the MetLife Chevy starts 16th, and the Chicago native Bobby Dowder starts 20th. Preston Tutt makes his first series start in Bobby Hamilton's Dodge, starts 23rd. In the 27th starting position, Brendan Gaughan at 2nd and a 3rd earlier this year.
And 10th place points man, Coy Gibbs taking his first provisional of the year in the MB&A Chevrolet. They had to go to a backup truck. Their truck didn't quite meet the NASCAR specs as far as the hoods and fenders. And NASCAR won the disagreement. There's no tiebreaker there, so they went to a backup truck and will start back in 32nd position. We will have 5 different drivers carry onboard cameras today to give you some up-close and personal looks at NASCAR racing at Chicago Motor Speedway. Now let's hear from those 5 drivers.
Hi, this is Brendan Gaughan. You're riding along in the number 41 TKO Dodge with the Orleans Hotel Casino and Target Saws and Blades.
Hi, I'm Carlos Contreras. I'm driving the 43 Dodge Hot Wheels truck, and I hope you enjoy the ride with me, guys. Adios.
Hi, I'm Jim Engelbright. You're riding along with me in the 02 Jelly Belly Chevrolet, so enjoy the ride.
Hi, I'm Terry Cook. Welcome to the Windy City, home of Power Stroke Diesel. You're riding along with me in my Ford F-150.
Hey, I'm Scott Ridge, driving the number 2 Team ASE CarQuest Dodge. Check out the race from my point of view.
And Scott Briggs, last week's winner at Nashville, Tennessee. He dominated last week under the lights at Nashville, led all but 19 laps. What an outstanding effort for the Team ASE CarQuest Dodge. Let's check in down in the pits quickly with Ray Dunlap. Ray?
Well, Jerry, practice is going to be a lot of what goes on today. The crew members are down here practicing, getting ready for pit stops, but the drivers have also had to do a lot of practicing with this little piece of equipment right here, the transmission. The big question today is going to be who will be shifting and who won't. I think a lot of the more experienced drivers will be shifting at both ends of the racetrack today. But I also talked to John Wood and Kyle Busch, and neither of them are shifting today. So it will be a question of experience and your ability to shift. Now let's hear from Amy.
Well, another thing we'll be talking a lot about in every report down here from the pits is that the drivers will most likely be complaining about the truck being tight in the center. Because of the horsepower that we have here in the Craftsman trucks, the wheelbase, it's just not really something that this Chicago Motor Speedway mile likes. So every truck has been tight. So some of the veterans that will be shifting, like your Rutman and your Musgrave, they may not shift the entire race to help that tight condition, but at the end they may need to shift to find their way to victory lane.
Take a look at our race description. Thank you, Ray and Amy. Chicago Motor Speedway, 1 mile over, sort of like a large paper clip. If you're familiar with Martinsville Speedway, it's like an extended Martinsville, long straightaways and very tight corners. Banked at only 6 degrees. Pretty good purse, $486,000. The race record a year ago. Joe Rutland won it from the pole, but it wasn't easy, Phil. He had to pass Greg Biffle with a daring move with just 16 laps to go.
See a pit window there of about 80 to 85 laps. You know, as Amy mentioned, this truck is the corners are so narrow here that these trucks don't want to turn around. They have to turn too quick. So that is, as Joe Ruttman said earlier, and as Amy said, that is the key to this racetrack, getting turned in the center of the corner.
By the way, until last August when Craftsman trucks came here, it was the first time a NASCAR's major touring series had been in the Chicago area since 1956 when Glenn Fireball Roberts led every lap on the quarter-mile asphalt at Soldier Field. Glenn Fireball Roberts, one of my all-time favorite drivers. He and Ned Jarrett, of course, back in the early years, and what a night for Fireball Roberts. Again, last year they came back with the NASCAR Craftsman truck. Since then, both the Winston Cup and Busch Series cars have been back here in the Chicago area, and again, the NASCAR Craftsman trucks come back for the second year.
Just a great area here. Had a great time downtown last night. Just a terrific place for this series to frequent.
Just joined us. There were rains in the area all morning long, and you got to give a tip of the hat to Gene Haskett and his entire staff here at Chicago Motor Speedway, getting the track dry very, very quickly with jet dryers as we are set for the green flag. Glad to have you with us in the Sears Craftsman 175, home to the Craftsman Truck Series title sponsor, Craftsman. We are in Chicago, Illinois. Ruttman and Sprague on the front row, Dodge and Chevy as they head out of turn 4. Flag waves and they fan out 2 and 3 wide. Willie T. Ribbs took a look to the inside in the 8 truck. And Preston Tutt's Dodge making his first start. His Dodge not coming up to speed. There's the 4 of Preston Tutt, the Georgia short track ace from Harlem, Georgia, having trouble getting going here as Rick Crawford tries to make a pass on the outside, ending lap number 1.
There hasn't been a whole lot of passing done on the outside here through all the practice, and here Rick Crawford is going to try to beat Ted Musgrave down in the corner, down in turn number 1. Was able to do that, hanging tough on the outside. So it looks like the outside group is already coming in.
Boy, Crawford has just really caught fire the last 2 weeks. A great run at IRP, then last week his best finish of the year, 3rd at Nashville, Tennessee for the Milwaukee Electric Tools Ford. They went to Ernie Elliott Motors after having some engine trouble early in the year, and this made a huge difference for Rick Crawford. You're talking about that red number 14 in the middle of your screen.
Got a battle for the lead down here. Joe Ruttman beats Jack Sprague going down into turn number 1.
These two guys are arch rivals on and off the racetrack. Talking about Jack Sprague and Joe Ruttman. Not sure there's Christmas cards sent back and forth. I believe they're that intense when it comes to the rivalry. Lance Norrick showing back in 3rd spot. Crawford 4th. Musgrave 5th. And Joe Ruttman had not led a race since Texas back early in the year. He led at Texas Motor Speedway. Now he gets a challenge by Sprague on the inside.
But you can see this racetrack, because of its shape, these guys use a lot of brakes, and you can see these trucks as they go down the straight areas. When they get down towards the corner, they get off the gas onto the brakes. You can see the front end of the trucks drop. That's how much they're using the brakes. Rick Crawford on the inside of Lance Norrick for the 3rd position.
Here goes Crawford on the inside. Maybe some contact. They are side by side for the lead. Crawford makes the pass for 3rd spot.
Great racing early on here in Chicago.
Last year there were 14 lead changes among 7 drivers, 5 lead changes in the first 9 laps, and this year we have another lead change, possibly. And Ruttman and Norrick get together down in turn 1s. Ruttman goes high. Lance Norrick stays on the inside.
Looks like it's about 3 wide going down the backstretch. Briefly.
Take a look at Norrick there. That's the 99 of Kyle Busch behind him. The 46 of Dennis Setzer.
So Travis Quapple jumping up there a couple positions.
On board with Scott Riggs, it's Matt Crafton, the Duke Thorson on. Fast track driveway sealer Chevrolet in front of him. As you watch Riggs trying to come up through traffic, he's gained 1 spot since the green flag wave.
We've heard all the reports about whether the guys are going to shift and whether they're not going to shift. When they're running too wide right here like this, it's really difficult to have the time to shift. Shifting takes time.
Dennis Setzer trying to get that spot away on the inside of Crafton. Noses by in the action. Here is Rick Crawford trying to go for the lead. Crawford, who led the most laps at Dover, Delaware back early in the year, but has led only 13 laps since then in in the last 7 races. So he would love to get the lead, and Crawford has one NASCAR Craftsman truck win, that coming 90 races ago at Homestead, Florida, back in April of 1998.
You know, Rick Crawford's crew chief, Ray Stonk, has told me that they run 0.2 of a second per lap faster when they shift than when they don't shift.
Well, obviously, he shifted because he is flying the Milwaukee Electric Tools Ford, showing the way. We've had 3 leaders and 3 lead changes in the early laps at Chicago Motor Speedway. Back in a moment. And back at Chicago Motor Speedway, another challenge for the lead. We've had 4 lead changes among 3 leaders, and here goes Jack Sprague. And I'm not sure who led that lap. Sprague may have gotten by, but Rick Crawford says, no, I don't think so. I'm going to try to hang as long as I can here. But Sprague has the quick line.
Jack got a little bit of a run on him in the center of the corner, and that's what we've been talking about this whole race. The truck that gets through the center of the corner the best is going to be the one that has the best chance of winning this race. We saw Ted Musgrave take advantage of the fact that Jack Sprague had Rick Crawford on the outside, along with Travis Quapple, to get by him.
And we just saw a moment ago the 75 of Billy Bigley on pit road, and now exiting the pits. Ray, what's been the problem?
Well, Jerry, apparently it's an internal engine problem, maybe a valve spring on the number 75. They weren't totally sure, but Billy said the truck is missing. He's on his way back down pit road right now in the Spears Chevrolet. We also saw the Preston Tutt truck come in. They had a transmission problem. Apparently the linkage locked up, and he wasn't able to shift into any gear, so that's the problem with the Ford truck.
Tough break for Preston Tutt on his very first start in NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Here's Scott Riggs, last week's winner. You're watching him try to work his way through traffic. Riggs now being shown in the 11th spot, making a move beneath Lance Norrick for 10th position.
Scott Riggs had a great truck. As he mentioned, he was the fastest truck at happy hour here. He's got on the inside of Lance Norrick. Lance is struggling right now. He's backed up from his 3rd starting position back to 11th. So he probably has a little bit of a tight situation in the center of the corner. That's the key to this racetrack, is we can't say it enough. How about Coy Gibbs? All the way up to the 15th position, Doc.
And Coy Gibbs, we mentioned he started provisional starting spot way back in 32nd position. Had a little disagreement. They brought a truck here that NASCAR didn't approve. They had to go to a backup truck, but he has come toward the front in a hurry. Another possible lead change. Ted Musgrave trying to get a move on the inside of Jack Sprague.
This is incredible racing here on a flat racetrack. You don't expect to see this much side-by-side racing, but these guys are really going at it.
Musgrave would be our 4th leader if he can hang on out of turn 4, and he takes the lead. Out of turn 4, as we have a truck up against the wall in turn 4. That's the 86 machine of Dana White.
It's pretty hard contact with the outside wall. You can see the back tailgate of that truck buckled, and the truck bed actually buckled on that truck.
National Wild Turkey Federation Chevrolet for Dana White, bringing out the first caution flag of the afternoon on lap 15. And with that, maybe we can catch our breath here. We've had 4 different leaders, 6 lead changes in the first 15 laps. Great start for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Chicago. Back in just a moment. Our ESPN coverage of the exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Sears Craftsman 175 is being brought to you by Mopar. Parts for Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles, the dealership that sell and install them. That's the Mopar difference. By RPM tonight for the most complete racing news and information, weeknights on ESPN2. And by CarQuest Auto Parts. You'll find it at CarQuest. Working caution for the first time today, lap 15, Dana White's National Wild Turkey Federation Chevrolet truck spinning up in turn 4 right in front of the Craftsman sign here in Chicago. We have had some pit stops. Let's check in the Terry Cook pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, like we told you, everybody's going to be complaining today about being tight. Terry Cook, the exact same thing, said it's driving like he's got a snowplow on the front. So they put left side tires on it and took a rubber out of the left rear to try to loosen it up. Amy?
Well, we were talking about Lance Norrick, excellent qualifying run in 3rd, but has now dropped back to the 10th position. You're right, Phil, he has an extremely tight condition, but it's even intensified because he has right front fender damage from some contact early with the 18 of Joe Ruttman. Joe Ruttman's truck is okay, but there is some damage to the right front of the number 90.
All right, thank you, Ray and Amy, very much for updating us on what's happening in the pits there. Jim Engelbright in the Jelly Bellies Candy Chevrolet started 13th, back in 12th spot, or up to 12th spot now. New engine builder Ron Hunter on board for Jim Engelbright. He actually started at IRP a couple of weeks ago after having some good runs early in the year, nullified by engine problems. Engelbright coming back, and word is he may be full-time here next year if he can. They're locating some extra funding to come run full-time in 2002 for the 02 truck.
It'd be great news for the series. Great addition to this series.
Lance Norrick, as you heard Amy say a moment ago, very tight to the Adventist Bearing Chevrolet, and tight is not good anywhere, but on this kind of racetrack field, it's got to be horrible.
That's exactly right. There's one guy that's not tight right now, Travis Quapple. He worked on the inside of Jack Sprague, got a run underneath him coming off turn 4, beat him down to turn number 1, and made the pass.
I talked to Mike Addington, who owns that 60 truck, yesterday down there, and Rick Wren, and they were very, very optimistic about Travis Quapple maybe getting his first ever win here this weekend. As you watch Quapple, there's Crawford coming by, and there's Kyle Busch going inside of Jack Sprague.
There should not be allowed for a 16-year-old to be able to jump up and run with these guys like this guy's doing, Doc.
I had trouble driving on the highway when I was 16. He's out here running at 135 mile an hour on the straightaways and running in the top 5 here, now being shown in 4th position in only his 2nd ever start.
Dennis Setzer also trying to work underneath Jack Sprague. Jack's backing up right now. He may be having a bit of a problem. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's nothing apparent, but he is losing some positions.
Setzer trying to go by. Matt Crafton back there in the 88 had a terrible problem. As you hear the spotters for Setzer talk about Sprague on the outside, there is the 88 of Crafton going around Scott Riggs and gets a little bit squirrely.
You see that Scott Riggs was waiting for that door to open, waiting for Matt Crafton to slide a little bit wide, and then he stuck his nose at that Dodge underneath him. Now they're side by side going down into turn number 3.
That's what they call squiggly. That's a combination of squirrely and wiggly. That's squiggly. That's what Matt Crafton was here a moment ago in the 88 truck.
We'll see that a lot. As hard as these guys are using the brakes getting down in the corner, we'll see that a lot here.
Crafton lost an engine last week at Nashville. Said it had a hole big enough in the side of the engine you could put a small dog through it.
You hear Scott Riggs pedaling that throttle, trying to get that truck turned to stay up side by side with Matt Crafton.
Great side-by-side racing here in the early laps. We've already had 4 different leaders, 6 lead changes. You're watching this battle here for position. That's for 8th spot, Riggs and Crafton.
The thing I really like to see is how well the outside groove is coming. There's a slow truck of Dana White on the outside there. The leaders have been able to negotiate him. He's running so slow right now. NASCAR tells you that mandates that you have to maintain a minimum speed even if you have trouble. So I'm sure NASCAR will probably bring him in because he's not, I'm sure, not maintaining the minimum speed that they require.
Yeah, the coverall carports, Chevy having his troubles here, and he slows and heads for the pits once again. Watching the battle here is Lance Norrick inside of John Wood. He's the 19-year-old driver on the Eldon Ford. Riding along with Jim Engelbright, watching Wood in front of him in the Eldon machine, and the Adventist Bearing Chevy for Norrick now sliding right in front of Engelbright.
Remember, John Wood is one of the trucks that we know is not shifting. He has a transmission in there, the 2-shift, but they had not planned on shifting whatsoever. But he's hanging in pretty tough there without shifting.
Looking outside, he's there.
All right, we told you that Sprague looked to be backsliding a little bit. Jack Sprague now all the way back to 6th spot. Amy, let's check in his pits. What's going on?
Well, we were just talking about shifting, and I think a lot of people thought that on that restart maybe Jack missed a shift or just thereafter. Well, that was not the case. In fact, his truck is extremely loose when he's got somebody right behind him, and that somebody was Joe Ruttman. Now, Joe made a little bit of contact with Jack Sprague. He is now concerned that he has caved in the front end of his truck. So Joe Ruttman so far has been in the middle of some contact with the 90 of Norrick and now the 24 of Jack Sprague. Neither his fault, but irregardless, the 24 of Sprague is loose when he's got a truck right up behind him.
Well, maybe the points leader jinx continues this week because last week Sprague was the points leader, ended up finishing 21st. Now, the possible front end damage, you heard Amy say on Joe Ruttman's truck. Ruttman is running in 5th spot, Sprague is 6th. You're watching this battle here for position involving the 90 truck of Norrick. There's the 17 of Ricky Hendrick back in 12th. That's 11th, 12th, and 13th. As we approach the 30-lap mark, we've had 6 different leaders and 6 lead changes at Chicago Motor Speedway. Back in a moment. Next Sunday, the quiet town of Nazareth, Pennsylvania is invaded by the pavement-pounding NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The trucks offer their signature side-by-side action along with a little beating and banging almost every lap. Last year, Dennis Setzer battled a broken shoulder and NASCAR's best to claim the win from 19th starting spot. Our coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern next Sunday on ESPN. And courageous effort by Dennis Setzer a year ago, winning at Nazareth. Will be up there at 12:30 next Sunday. Marking down the Chevy Silverado 200 up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
It's another difficult racetrack up there, Doc. It's really like a road course with all left-hand turns. So, there's 3 or 5 different turns, depending on how you look at it, but they're all different.
Battle for 5th, also a battle involving our points contenders. Sprague now goes by Ruttman. Ruttman was the 5th place truck, the Dana Dodge. Sprague, the Net Zero Chevy, takes 5th. Ruttman is 6th. And Dennis Setzer with a brand new truck here this weekend, the Axiom Chevrolet. Danny Gill and company getting him dialed in. They were the last truck to get on the starting line. They had a lot of trouble early this morning.
They sure did. I was looking down there. We were just about 10 minutes away from the start of the race, and their truck was still hasn't even gone to the inspection area yet. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the truck seems to be running fine now. He's up in the 7th position. Let's see if Joe Ruttman can get back up on the rear bumper of Jack Sprague and make him loose like he did earlier. Jack's able to pull away a little bit here. Came up on the lap truck right there of Eric Jones, the 34 truck.
And that may hold up Sprague enough for Ruttman to catch him, but Ruttman's having trouble getting off the corner.
It looked like he pushed through the center and off the corner and allowed Dennis Setzer to pull up towards the inside.
See where our contenders in the championship started, where they're currently running. And whoa, up across the racetrack goes Ruttman, and now that'll open the door for Setzer. Riggs, the only one of those 3 that has yet to lead a lap. You get 5 bonus points for leading a lap, so Scott Riggs is going to want to try to lead a lap, even if he has to stay on the racetrack possibly to do it during a caution flag. 37 laps in of 175. The Sears Craftsman 175. Glad to have you with us here at Chicago Motor Speedway. Believe it or not, folks, it rained here all morning. It poured, but what a gorgeous afternoon. As you see the 29 of Terry Cook now moving up toward the front. Terry back in 16th position. Now make it 15th spot after that pit stop during the first caution flag. And problems for the MB&A Chevrolet for Coy Gibbs. He is headed down pit road. Right down lap, what's the problem?
Well, Jerry, it's a brake problem for Coy, and he documented at the top of this show that this is not the truck they wanted to run here, but the crew had to go to work to change an awful lot of things. But Coy has said that the brakes start locking up on him, so he decided he's going to go behind the wall, and they're going to put new rotors and new brake pads on this truck because he was afraid he was going to crash it. He said as he got down to turn number 3 and applied the brakes, it just wanted to lock up, so they're going behind the wall.
And Phil, I don't know, but as a driver here with these long straightaways, and as much as you got to jam those brakes on, that's got to be scary.
Well, sure is. And also, Doc, if you drive down in the corner as hard as you can, you hit the brakes and the brakes lock up. You cannot turn a truck with the brakes locked up. So that would actually shoot the truck out towards the wall. So that was a very unsafe situation. So heads up move by Coy to bring that thing in, work on it. Even though he knows he's going to give up a good finishing position, he's got to fix the truck.
Well, there's Ted Musgrave in the Mopar Dodge, being shown as our leader. Fred Wanke, by the way, is crew chief. He was the crew chief for Joe Ruttman last year when Ruttman won this race from the pole. So Fred already a winner here. And Musgrave, who grew up in Franklin, Wisconsin, actually grew up about 40 miles north of Chicago in northern Illinois. Sort of a homecoming from him.
Yeah, I talked to Fred this morning. He said that, I said, how were you? He said, well, I don't know. You know, but for Fred, that's a real positive statement, because usually I ask him, he said, we're not any good at all, and he goes and wins the race. So the fact he didn't know, it was probably a good sign.
Indeed. He doesn't normally say that much. There's Travis Quapple in the Cat Reynolds Chevrolet. Quapple, a 3-time runner-up this year, now showing in 2nd spot. Boy, and he, by the way, is the new points leader in the Robustus Rookie of the Year standings by 4 points over Ricky Hendricks. So he knows he needs to probably win a race to win that Rookie of the Year title. Today could be a pretty good day for him. He's showing in 2nd spot. There's a rookie points. You see Quapple 4 points ahead of Hendrick, who's running back in 13th spot. Matt Crafton having a good top 10 run thus far. Billy Bigley has been on and off pit road in 32nd spot, and Willie T. Ribbs in the top 20. That's the top 5 in the Robustus Rookie of the Year standings.
I'll be real surprised if that 60 truck of Travis Quapple does not win a race before this year's over.
I believe it could come in the next few weeks. Quapple runs 2nd, Crawford runs 3rd. We're still going to practice 41 of 175 are complete. Back to Chicago in a moment. Well, ESPN and ESPN2 will have all the racing action from the Colonel's Truck Accessories Nationals. We're talking about NHRA action from Brainerd. Tonight, ESPN brings you all the qualifying at 8 Eastern time, and ESPN2 brings you the final round coverage at 5 Eastern on Sunday. That's the NHRA coming your way from Brainerd. That's the Colonel's Truck Accessories Nationals. Tonight and tomorrow, the final elimination. For more, log on to ESPN.com. How about Carlos Contreras and the Hot Wheels Dodge?
Got a battle right there. It's Terry Cook on the inside in the 29 truck getting by Jimmy Hensley. It's a battle for the 14th position right there.
Good to see Jimmy Hensley back, the former two-time most popular driver in the NASCAR Busch Series. Back aboard the Merrill and Randy McDonald Chevrolet back in the 72 truck, the MetLife sponsor machine. There's Terry Cook, the Detroit Diesel sponsorship. And by the way, this morning as you ride along, the Power Stroke Diesel sponsorship, they made an announcement at 1 o'clock today, a pretty special announcement. Dan Eustian, president of Power Stroke Diesel, announced they were going to be on board this truck for the remainder of the year, and they're thinking about next year. So with the kind of runs Terry has had, obviously a very wise move to stay on board with this K Automotive team.
Well, without a doubt, he's been really, really good, especially the last few races. Watching, we talk about shifting. Let's look at there. That's the middle of the straightaway. That's the middle of the front straightaway. He's on the inside right now. Ricky Hendrick trying to make the pass for the 12th position, 13th position. But right now you shift down, going in the corner, you downshift into third gear, then you upshift about right here, about midway down the straightaway, and then you do it all over again the next end of the racetrack.
Ricky Hendrick, he's trying to run down there the GMAC Chevrolet, son of Rick and Linda Hendrick. And in practice yesterday, Terry Cook was among the quickest trucks on the racetrack. And if you just joined us, he made a pit stop during the first caution flag on lap 15, had to restart in the back of the pack, but he is thundering toward the front. With that pass of Ricky Hendrick, Terry Cook will now be shown in 13th position.
You know, Terry Cook pitted on lap 16. We documented that, and there he is right there. See him shifting. He's upshifting to fourth gear right now, middle of straightaway. Now he'll go down into the corner, down into turn number 3. Watch his right hand. He'll reach up and grab third gear right in the center of the corner, get back in the throttle, and then try to get off the corner. Terry Cook pitted on lap 16. All the crew chiefs in the pit said, we don't think we can go halfway, which is 87.5 laps of this, 87.5 laps of the 175 lap race. But with him pitting on lap 16, maybe that gets him in the window. Maybe he only has one more pit stop where everyone else is probably going to have to pit twice.
Wow, some strategy playing out early here possibly for Terry Cook as you watch Ricky Hendrick. And the GMAC truck having lost a spot or two a moment ago. Let's check in his pits with Bray.
Well, Jerry, we talked about all these trucks being tight in the center. Amy talked about that at the top of the show. That's what everybody's saying on the radio. However, for Ricky Hendrick in the number 17, when he comes off the corner, his truck is really, really loose, and that's why he wasn't able to hang with the 29. So they're talking about making some pretty significant chassis adjustments on the next pit stop for the 17 truck.
And Rick Crawford moving by Travis Quapple for second spot. And boy, would Rick Crawford and Rockin' Ray Stonkus and his entire Milwaukee Electric Tool crew love to get a win here. Their last win for Rick Crawford, well, it's been a while for you Rick Crawford fans. Homestead, April 4th, 1998. 90 races ago. Great run for Crawford with the Ernie Elliott horsepower, coming off his best finish of the year last week at Nashville, Tennessee. Now, Crawford is in a Ford, but Ford has been shut out this year. It has been sort of a Dodge domination. Not sort of, it has been a Dodge domination. Look, 11 wins, 8 poles for Dodge. And look at the right side, laps led for Dodge, then Chevrolet. Ford, no poles, no wins, just 194 laps. In fact, the bulk of those was Rick Crawford when he led 73 laps at Dover, Delaware.
Exactly right. And Rick Crawford is one of the 4 leaders we've had so far today. So he's led one time for 5 laps, it looks like. So Rick Crawford is trying to add to that total, but he's got to get up and catch Ted Musgrave to add any more.
Rick told me that his son, who'd been traveling for much of the summer with him, had to go home because school's getting ready to start back in Mobile, Alabama. His son, Adam, who's 13 years of age, said, man, I wanted to win one when Adam was here, but maybe if Adam's watching today in Mobile, which I'm sure he is, Adam, he is driving the wheels off this thing for you, buddy. He wants to get a victory. Rick Crawford, it has been 3 years since he's been to victory lane. And here's Ted Musgrave getting ready to try to go by Carlos Contreras. We'll take a look at his speed at the line. That's the average speed for the lap on this 1 mile racetrack, 112.991 miles per hour.
See Travis Quapple with a quick time that lap. Just about 0.2 of a mile an hour faster than Ted Musgrave. Rick Crawford, the third fastest time. Ted right now is in heavy traffic.
That's Lance Hooper, who had a great run last week, equaling his best finish of the year, 12th at Nashville, Tennessee. He's back aboard the Joey Sontag machine.
This is going to be a little bit deceiving right now, this lap, because we saw how much traffic Ted was in that time. So he will not be one of the top three, obviously, speeds, but he still has almost a 5-second lead right now on Rick Crawford.
Musgrave finished second at Nashville, Tennessee from third starting spot. He led for the first time last week since the Kentucky race back in the middle of July when he had led 79 laps.
Dennis Setzer had the fastest lap that time.
And there's the interval back to Crawford and Quapple. Say that quickly. Crawford and Quapple running second and third. That is the Ford of Crawford and the Cat Reynolds Chevy of Travis Quapple.
Those names may sound alike, but they're not spelled anything alike.
Rubman says Quapple's looks like the eye chart. It's a K and a V and an A and a P. Two very talented drivers who desperately want to win.
Good battle right now for the second position between these two guys.
1,600-foot-long straightaways here at Chicago Motor Speedway in very tight turns, banked just 6 degrees. We are closing in on lap number 60 here in the Sears Craftsman 175. There's Chasen Musgrave. 16-year-old Kyle Busch has become the next generation in the Roush Racing legacy. At IRP, he spun his Eldon Ford in qualifying, forcing him to go to a backup truck at the back of the starting grid. With the skill and determination of a veteran, he made his way through the field and into the top 10, finishing 9th in his very first career start. What's next for this young Truck Series talent? And you want to know how talented he is? Folks, he has an incredible record of short track. He's been racing for a few years. 70 wins and 140 starts. 1 out of 2 races he ran, he won in Legends car racing the last 2.5 years. And he was a 2-time Las Vegas Motor Speedway Legends champion.
Doing a great job, kid. Going on the bottom up there, that's 75.
That's Max Jones. I totally agree, doing a great job.
Terrific. I totally agree with that.
12 starts in late model this year, 7 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 1 mechanical DNF. 11 top 5s in late models this year out of Las Vegas. What a talent.
I was wondering what happened with that other start. He was in the top 5 11 out of 12 times. I was wondering what happened with that other start.
Unbelievable. Here we're talking about Kyle Busch, 16 years of age, son of Tom and Gay Busch, and he was the younger brother of Kurt Busch. Last year's best rookie of the year and runner-up here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series point standings.
That's a name we're going to be hearing a lot of.
Absolutely. And right now he's being shown in 4th position in front of a 2-time series champion and 22-time winner. He's holding off Jack Sprague.
You know, this may be only the second time the Truck Series has come to Chicago. This racetrack, Domingo right on pit road right now.
Let's go down to Amy East.
Thanks, Jerry. And this is an unscheduled pit stop for the 02 Jelly Belly Chevrolet. What it seems as though the problem is initially they thought it was ignition trouble. Now they are saying that it's a battery trouble. What happens is when the battery goes dead, and it's usually a problem with the alternator. So they've got a battery on hand to change, although they are taking right side tires right now. The battery is located behind the left, or I'm sorry, in front of the left rear tire. They don't seem to be, no, they just gave him right side tires, but they had the battery here ready to give to 02, and they decided not to do it. I have a feeling, though, we'll see him down pit lane here shortly.
Maybe some of those jelly beans melted on top of the battery. They got a whole truck full of them there on the whole deck lid for the Jim Englebright. Tough break for Jim, but he decided about coming on board. There's Brendan Gaughan, the 41 truck, running for TKO Motorsports. Brendan not having one of his better runs. He said he's had some great runs earlier this year.
Stay with him. I'm right here with Eddie. Just stay with him.
Brendan finished 3rd at Mesa Moran, 2nd at Texas, making his 5th start of the year, 4th with TKO. And battle for 4th. Now, if you're a spotter for Kyle Busch, what do you tell him now with a veteran like Sprague chomping at the rear bumper?
Well, I think right now he's more concerned about trying to pass Travis Quapple than he is worried about Jack Sprague trying to pass him. They've caught Travis Quapple. That's Travis right there on the inside pulling out to pass the lap truck, and Kyle Busch is right behind him. Look at trouble, Willie T.
Willie T. revs up into the outside wall, and the truck number 8, and he hit it a ton up there. Willie T. will bring out the caution flag for the second time today here on lap 68.
A lot of contact on the rear of that truck.
Heavy damage for Willie T. ribs up there on the turn 4 area. Second time we've had the caution. In fact, both cautions occurring in essentially the same area of the racetrack.
Getting the truck going there, but he's going to have a lot of work to do to that truck to get back out on the racetrack. That may be terminal.
Tough break for Willie T. Hoping to have a good run here in the Chicago area. A lot of smoke from inside that truck. Either got something rubbing or maybe he's got onboard telemetry.
Tough, yeah, it looks like probably, I'm sure it jammed the fuel cell right up into the rear end housing, so probably the tires are rubbing the trailing arm brackets and things like that, pioneer bar brackets. Again, a lot of damage.
Comes to a halt there, and the crew will go to work and take a look at the back of that Dodge Motorsports Mopar Dodge.
We were talking about Brendan Gaughan there a minute ago. We heard the tail end of his spotter saying, hey, go ahead, stay with him. That's Ted Musgrave he was talking about. Said, I'm right here with his spotter, Eddie. And when the caution flag came out, sure enough, Ted Musgrave allowed him to get back in the lead lap.
All right, critical pit stops. We're going to have triple split pits. We're going to have the 3 leaders as they come down pit road at 45 miles an hour, 1, 14, and 60 in that order. Let's go down to the Travis Quapple pit, who's on the bottom of your screen, and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, they're going to do right sides on this one, but Travis is saying the truck is really great as far as chassis goes, so no adjustments here. Right side tires and fuel only as Travis comes down pit road. The CAT crew is ready for him. We will see some chassis adjustments, though, as most people complaining about tight, but the 60 is in pretty good shape. Amy East.
At the top of your screen, Ted Musgrave's getting right side tires, also 240 degrees on the water temperature gauge. They're going to take some tape off the grill. In the middle, you see Rick Crawford with that new Ernie Elliott horsepower, getting some right side tires and no chassis adjustments for the 14.
And good pit stop for Travis Quapple and Rick Wren and the entire company as they race side by side off of pit road at 45 miles an hour. Of course, that's the NASCAR rule, but I will mention all week long, Rick Wren has had that Cat rental crew practicing pit stops, and right there, although under caution, it paid off. 12.2 seconds and a great stop for Travis Quapple and the crew. And here's why we're under caution a moment ago on lap as the 8 truck up across the track right into the concrete. Ouch, pretty hard lick because that's probably running, 128, 130 miles an hour into the straightaway?
Absolutely, and the thing is, you don't have enough bank to catch the thing, so there's really very little to catch the truck as he slides up across the racetrack.
All right, some of the Rouse crew completing their repairs after pit work. Back with a green flag in a moment. Back in Chicago, Illinois, is working second caution flag today as James Cox and company working on Willie T. Ribbs' Dodge truck. You know, in this week's Craftsman Pit Profile, we learned that when the teams need more help or need more parts like this team, they call on a man named Bobby Moore.
In the NASCAR Truck Series since 1996, Bobby Moore has provided parts for all of the teams with his Hutch truck. And Bobby, I've been told by the teams that in the case of an accident in practice, they could come to you and almost rebuild their truck from the parts you have on board.
Yeah, basically they could. We carry everything but gears, transmissions, motors, and stuff like that. Frame rail, lead, wheels, brakes. We carry just about everything you need to build one.
In the course of a weekend, how many different people do you see coming in and out of your truck?
All the teams come in. I mean, most of the teams have open accounts. They just come and get what they need if they have to have it at the track for emergencies and stuff like that. So,
what's the most common purchase?
It would have to be springs.
Teams always changing that spring shock combination. It's nice to know that Bobby is here and supporting our series.
Indeed, there is Bobby's truck, the old Hutchinson-Pagan truck in the infield there, and I'm sure that probably Willie T and the crew will be headed over to get some extra things, some parts to try to help get that Dodge back on the racetrack.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Green, 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 green.
get ready. We have a green. You're keeping count at home, and we are back on green flag racing at lap 75. Moving in on the halfway point here in the Sears Craftsman 175.
Rick Crawford, running second, was able to get by the lap truck of Jim Englebright, the lap down truck, and see that he's got a little bit of a gap right now before the third place truck of Jack Sprague. 5 bonus points for Travis Quapple for leading the race by virtue of that great pit work by the Cat Rental team.
And we got a truck spinning around up in turn 3 as you watch them fan out 2 and 3 wide. The 19 truck, that's Sanders. That is Ricky Sanders. And he gets the truck down across the racetrack off the groove, so no caution flag. Dion Henske keeps the yellow hanky put away, and Sanders gets back going in the right direction. Here's a pretty good challenge. Side-by-side action, Kyle Busch and Jim Englebright.
Kyle's in the 4th position right there. Jim Englebright, by virtue of his green flag pit stop, is now down a couple laps. Got our early leader, Ted Musgrave, prior to the caution flag, mired back in the 7th position right now. So be interesting to see how quick he can work his way through the pack.
Last week it was a 1-2 sweep for the Ultra Motorsports team of Musgrave and Riggs, and now they run 1-2 there in line, back in position 7th and 8th. And we mentioned that Travis Quapple in the Cat Rental Chevy had an outstanding pit stop. Let's check in with his crew chief, Rick Wren.
Rick, you made no adjustments on the truck. Looks like you got a pretty good piece out there today.
Yeah, we've got a really good truck, and the Cat Rental Store crew got us out first on that pit stop. We'll have to wait and see what this set of tires does for the next pit stop. Probably need a little bit of a chassis adjustment, but the sun's going in and out, so we kind of got to wait and see. Got 100 laps to go yet.
Everybody did rights on that time. Will you do rights again or lefts next time?
Well, it might not be bad if this thing could go green and we could get 4.
Oh, okay. So there may be some strategy later, guys.
Ray, I don't know about that, because if he can run about 80 laps, that would be 100. That would be lap of 150 when he would have to come back in. He's not going to take enough time to change 4 tires then. Don't let him fool you, Ray.
Watching Dennis Setzer behind points leader Joe Ruttman in the 18 Dana Dodge.
Scott Riggs right now has got by his teammate Ted Musgrave and moved up into the 7th position. So I don't know if Ted's having a bit of a problem or it just takes a few laps for his truck to get going. We were looking right there out of Scott Riggs on board, looking at Dennis Setzer, who was in the 6th position. Now we're looking back at teammate Ted Musgrave in the 8th position.
And Rick Crawford and Jack Sprague have both been able to get by Travis Quapple, as now it is Crawford, Milwaukee Electric Tools Ford. It is Ford, Chevy, and Ford. So 2 Fords and 2 Chevys, the top 4, as Crawford leads, then Sprague, then Quapple, and then Kyle Busch.
While we were talking to Rick Wren back there, Travis lost 2 positions. He may not want us to talk to him anymore. There goes Scott Riggs on the inside of Joe Ruttman for another position. That's the 6th position right there.
That way, Dennis Setzer's in 5th spot. Then comes Riggs now in 6th. Ruttman back to 7th. Then comes Musgrave. Musgrave looks to the inside of Ruttman for 7th spot.
Scott Riggs, his teammate, opened the door for him. He's going to try to follow him through, but Joe Ruttman wanted to get back to the bottom of the racetrack, but Ted Musgrave was there. He said, no thanks, Joe.
And John Wood, the 19-year-old, in the Eldon Ford. Whoa, as Terry Cook tries to be the meat in the sandwich, tries to go beneath John Wood. Thanks better of it.
Yeah, don't do that, Terry. Long way to go.
Terry big time wanting to win for the Power Stroke Diesel folks. And now again there's a little bit of wiggle from as John Wood almost had it loop around on him.
Looked like a little bit of contact, as you mentioned, between Joe Ruttman and John Wood. Now it allows Terry Cook to get up on the outside of John Wood. Joe wants the bottom of the racetrack there, and sometimes the guys are kind of beside him, and he wants it anyway.
Good side-by-side racing here at Chicago Motor Speedway. 8 lead changes, 5 leaders. This is the battle we're watching. Side-by-side for position. That's for the 9th spot. John Wood again, the Eldon Ford.
Little contact there again. Looks like maybe his right front fender may be bent a little bit where there was a little bit of contact with Joe Ruttman. That will probably, if he has a tight condition, that will make that even worse.
Terry Cook, the veteran of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And here comes Wood roaring back.
You got it turned awfully nice there in the center of the corner. You can see, though, you see the left front fender.
Virginia from behind when you got side by side.
Max Jones talking to John and said, hey, if you keep running side by side, you're going to let a lot of guys catch you. So, but John doesn't want to give up that position.
John Wood, it's only his 9th start ever in NASCAR Craftsman trucks. His 8th with Roush Racing. He had a 4th at Kansas City, a 7th at Kentucky, and still side by side inside the veteran Terry Cook.
Look at his front fenders there, Doc. You see how far the left front fender is out, and the right front now from where you can see where he got in, the Joe Ruttman is pushed in. So that's going to make a bit of a tight situation, but he's doing pretty well right now with it.
You think Jack Roush has got to be smiling from ear to ear right now watching these youngsters? This is the veteran of his two. This is the 19-year-old. The other one's only 16.
Yeah, he's the old guy.
Yeah,
John's the old guy.
Yeah, he's already run 9 races. And Terry Cook, whoa, a little bit of contact up front. Sprague in the net zero. Gives a little bit of a bumper to Rick Crawford for the lead, and now Crawford comes back.
Very similar situation to what Joe Ruttman. Rick tried. Ooh, a lot of contact. Sprague's going around.
Sprague goes around. Kyle Busch gets him straightened back up. And no, well, the caution will come out now. And Sprague gets it going again. But there is damage in the left front of the Net Zero Chevrolet, and caution will be on the racetrack for the 3rd time today. There's a 99 of Kyle Busch. Is there some damage up front?
Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. No pressure from behind.
A lot of damage to the left front fender of Jack Sprague's truck. A little bit of damage to the left rear, right in front of the rear tire.
And Kyle Busch got his truck turned left. Actually, he's the one that got Sprague straightened back up.
I could not believe Kyle was able to get stopped without really drilling Jack Sprague. A great heads-up job by this youngster.
And looks to be minimal, if any, damage whatsoever on the Eldon Ford for Kyle Busch.
Good job, good job.
Boy, a 16-year-old that drives like he's 29.
At least.
We couldn't get low enough there. Let's use that access road.
Here again's what happened a moment ago in turn 1.
They went down in the corner. Watch Kyle Busch right there. He made that little bit of contact right there. Not a great deal of contact. That's what did damage Jack Sprague's left front fender, though. But Jack got in the corner a little bit too hard, got loose, and got up into the side of Rick Crawford right here. Watch this going down into turn number 1. Now Jack's going to get a little bit loose. See him get loose, trying to catch a truck. He got on the outside of Rick Crawford, then tried to turn away from him, and around he went. And as you mentioned, Kyle Busch turned him back straight and turned him back around the other way. Jack kept the truck running, and away he went.
And that is the 3rd caution flag of the day, coming out on lap number 85. And here is Sprague at 45 miles an hour, headed down pit road toward you, Amy.
Well, what they're going to do is they actually have a strategy down here now, you guys. They're going to come down pit lane not once but twice. This first stop here, they're going to give Jack 4 fresh tires. Of course, there are some flat spotted tires, and they're also going to have one of the crew members there try to pull away the fender from the left front so they can make sure and get that left front tire off. Indeed, now it's going to be, they cannot get the left front tire off. They're going to have to get baseball bat here. No, they've got a hammer, a mallet there. They're going to try to roll it out. Wow, he's got some damage there on the left front. Now, what I was going to tell you is, again, after they get this fixed, he'll come down pit lane for the 2nd time. And on that, they're indeed going to check the toe, figuring it'll either be towed in or towed out, no doubt, and then they'll fix the toe from there. So this first stop is just trying to give Jack some 4 new Goodyears. They got the right sides on, having a lot of difficulty getting that left front tire off with the extensive fender damage.
All right, work continuing on the 2-time series champions Net Zero Chevrolet. Last week's points leader, Jack Sprague, bringing out caution number 3 on the day. Back at Chicago Motor Speedway, I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Amy East working caution number 3. Jack Sprague spun, has been on and off pit road twice, is still on the lead lap, did not lose a lap in the pits, is at the rear end of the field as we are set for the restart here on lap number 90.
Top 6 trucks right now, Doc, did not pit on that caution flag, and everybody else behind them did. So some strategy playing out right now.
Figure those guys probably couldn't go the rest of the way on fuel anyway, so needed about 10 or 11 more laps, so they decided to go ahead and stay on the racetrack. You see Dennis Setzer going by Carlos Contreras.
I wonder if some of the guys that did pit can go the rest of the way. They pitted on lap 87. That leaves them 88 laps.
On a 1-mile racetrack, that's 88 miles. So I'm He's a very good man. Here's
teammates side by side. Scott Riggs on the inside, Ted Musgrave on the outside.
And let's update several of the pit stops, Ray.
Well, Jerry, I wanted to answer your fuel mileage question because a lot of these guys say they can go. The 29 of Terry Cook came down pit road on lap 87, got fuel only, no tires. They did put a couple of turns in the right rear, but Scott Riggs and the 50 of John Wood both came to pit road to get fuel and left side tires because both of them said they can go the distance the rest of the way. I didn't hear that much fuel mileage before this race started, but these guys say they can go without another pit stop.
That could make it very, very interesting around lap 165 to 170 with 5 or 6 to go.
You have to believe that Ted Musgrave can make it all the way if his teammate Scott Riggs can make it all the way. So there's another guy we need to keep an eye on.
There's Jack Sprague, the Net Zero Chevrolet. Sprague having his troubles. Last week he went into Nashville as the points leader. Didn't make it to the green flag. Had a coil wire cut or arc off, and he actually started the race at 11 laps down, finished in 21st spot. Now he has spun after leading early on. Sprague led 8 laps and has been on and off pit road under the caution flag. He's now making his way back toward the front. Amy?
Well, that's right, Jerry. He did make that second stop on pit lane. They got the jack handle off the jack, used it to roll out the left front fender and put a new left front tire on, but they did nothing with the toe. They said, all right, we have to stay on the lead lap. We're going back to green. So if it's towed in, it might make that truck dart all over the track. If he's towed out, it'll scrub off some speed. So they'll just try to see exactly what Jack is complaining of here. It looks like he might have made some more contact there with the 88 of Matt Crafton, but Jack now on a mission.
Indeed he is. Matt Crafton trying to help correct the toe-out problem as he bumps him a moment ago. And there's the Net Zero crew doing their calculations. Back with more from Chicago in a moment. Back at Chicago Motor Speedway, we are past the halfway point of our NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Sears Craftsman 175 and Mobile, Alabama's Rick Crawford is showing the way. Could Crawford give Ford their first win of the year? Well, if you want information on all the latest news and notes from the world of motorsports and for all the latest from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, visit rpm.espn.com. The keyword is truck. rpm.espn.com, keyword trucks. Update you on what's happening around the world of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Dennis Setzer trying to make a move on Rick Crawford, tried to work up underneath him coming off turn 4, got the truck turning well, but was not able to get up beside Rick. How about Coy Gibbs up there? He started the race on the inside, started this restart on the inside of the front line because there's a number of laps down, and was able to stay in front of Rick Crawford and doing a great job. He's got a great truck, unfortunately, for his 22 laps down.
Yeah, they had to go back behind the wall because of a brake failure, and Gary Showalter and the crew did a great job fixing the brakes. It's a shame he's 22 down and he's running as quickly as a leader.
Well, they were only able to practice this truck in happy hour yesterday because of the backup truck. They never got a lap on it until after qualifying was over with, and we've got a great truck. Unfortunately, had a brake problem, as you mentioned, and he's again 22 laps down.
All right, and one driver who was hoping for a better day didn't exactly have it. Ray?
But Jim, we heard on the radio earlier that you had a battery problem. Now you're behind the wall. What, did you figure it out?
Yeah, I was coming off of turn 4 and there's just a bunch of smoke. What happened was the wire that is hooked up to the alternator somehow came disconnected and fell onto the header, and then ended up shorting out the ignition on the Jelly Belly truck. So just, I hate it for the crew and everybody that's been supporting us, but, we'll be back here in Texas.
Okay, that's Jim Englebright. He'll be back in Texas, as he said, but kind of strange, Jerry. It sounded a little bit like the deal Sprague had a week ago.
Unbelievable. Third DNF of the year for Jim Englebright, and he is a very competitive driver. He's won at Sears Point and Southwest Tour Racing on ESPN in years past. And here goes Kyle Busch beneath Travis Kvapil. That is for third position.
I saw Kyle wave to Travis Kvapil and say, thanks, guy. Thanks for, not impeding my progress there. But I tell you, Kyle Busch can win this race. He's about a second half right now behind our leader, Rick Crawford. So we have 2 Fords in the top 3 right now.
How about that points as of now? Rutman over Riggs, if they award points right now at this point in the race, 103 laps in. Sprague back in third, Kvapil in fourth, and Musgrave would actually move to fifth in front of Ricky Hendrick. So it's been a pretty good day for the Milwaukee Electric Tools crew, for Rick Crawford, Rock and Ray Stonkus and company, watching their truck and their driver leading at 71 to go. Team Penske drivers Elio Castroneves and Gilles DeFerrin dominated Mid-Ohio last week. This week, they seek back-to-back road course wins at Road America. Last year's pole sitter Dario Franchitti won his first kart race at Elkhart Lake in 1998. And our Kart Road America coverage begins tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with Kart Today, and then at 1 Eastern Time, Road America 220. Live flag-to-flag coverage on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Side by side for sixth position, Terry Cook making a pass despite what we're hearing he's having a transmission problem.
Yeah, I tell you, that would not be the death knell here if he had a transmission problem. We're hearing right now that he's lost third gear, which means he's stuck in fourth gear, which means he won't have quite as much off the corner as if he was shifting. But sometimes, again, the time it takes to shift, upshifting twice and downshifting twice a lap, sometimes you can actually go a little bit better without having to shift.
We just joined us, Terry Cook sponsors, the president, Dan Eustigan of Power Stroke Diesel, announcing they will be on board for the remainder of this year, the final 7 events, and looking very hard at the full year next year. Cook rewarding him with a great second place run at IRP, a 6th last week at Nashville, now being shown in 6th spot here in the final 65 laps of this one.
Able to get by our pole sitter Joe Ruttman, who's now back in the 7th position.
Well, Ford's having a much better day today than they've had. They have been shut out for 2001. Ford showing the way up front. Also have a Ford, we have Ford first and third. And here is side by side for 4th spot, Travis Quapple and Ted Musgrave.
We know how strong Ted Musgrave was in the early going. Didn't have trouble on the pit stop, moved back to the 7th position. Now he's worked his way back up to 4th. So Ted Musgrave is on the move back towards the front.
Ted Musgrave's truck won at Gateway, finished 2nd in Nashville last week. The same truck finished 4th at Pikes Peak, as we show you some of the speeds at the line. Crawford, our leader, not among the 3 quickest right now, but he was in some traffic just a moment ago.
It'll be a little bit deceiving on Ted Musgrave's part because we saw him passing in trucks, so that's going to hurt his time a little bit. But Scott Riggs right there in 8th position is the fastest truck that lap.
Sprague, after that incident, being on and off pit road twice during the caution flag. Now Sprague all the way up to 9th position as you watch Musgrave inside Larry Gunzelman. Waterloo Tool Storage Machine Ford for Gunzelman and Mike Mittler and company.
Bottom of your screen right there, that's Kyle Busch in the 3rd position. He's the next victim on Ted Musgrave's assault.
Unbelievable that a 16-year-old running the 2nd race is running 3rd here on a tough track like Chicago Motor Speedway.
And we know Kyle Busch has not seen any of these racetracks. Now, yeah, again, I started to say earlier, none of these guys saw this racetrack before last year, but Kyle Busch hasn't seen many racetracks other than the short track out in Las Vegas.
And he starts, as you watch this battle now, getting tighter and tighter for the lead up front. Rick Crawford, Dennis Setzer. Setzer a winner this year already at Memphis. Let's go down the road, down in the Setzer pits with Danny Gill, the crew chief for the Axiom Chevrolet.
Danny, you were the last truck to the line today. You had some sort of an electrical problem, but apparently your guys got it all figured out. What was the deal?
Yeah, this is a brand new race truck, and we had a wiring harness go bad on us. Got to the line about 3 minutes before the race started. NASCAR worked real good with us. Guys did an excellent job on Axiom Computer Associates Chevy, and right now it's really working good.
What's Dennis saying about the truck?
He said the truck's on the rail. He said nothing we can do to make it any better. We haven't made any adjustments all day. Not planning on any adjustments on the last stop.
What, you do 2 tires, rights, lefts, or what?
We hadn't made our mind up on that.
All right. Hey, I'll tell you what, Phil, these crew chiefs just don't give us that much information down here, do they?
They sure don't, Ray, and I think if they go till about 15, 20 laps to go to make their last pit stop, maybe 30, I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys do gas only. Spend about 3 or 4 or 5 seconds on pit road. It'd take about 10 seconds sometimes to change tires. I don't think they can afford to give up that much track position.
Well, Rick Crawford trying to hold on to get his first win in 90 starts since April of 1998 at the Milwaukee Electric Tools Crew. They are waiting. Back at Chicago Motor Speedway, laps winding down. Rick Crawford is showing the way. And by the way, Crawford here in Chicago carrying a decal, and some of his crew members even wearing hats for the Chicago Blackhawks. And I'm told that they had Ryan Vanderbush, the honorary pit crew member, as part of the Chicago Blackhawks. There's one of the tire changers in the pits showing the Chicago Blackhawks hats. Chicago, a great sports town. In fact, 6 different sporting teams here in town have decals on NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Crawford with the Blackhawks, Ricky Hendrick, the Chicago Bulls, Coy Gibbs, Chicago Cubs, Rutland carrying Chicago White Sox logos, Carlos Contreras, the Major League Soccer Chicago Fire, and Jack Sprague, the Arena Football Chicago Rush. So great sports teams in the Chicago area lending their decals and the NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series racers.
Dennis Setzer right there, the Axiom Chevrolet, currently in the 2nd position, but in 3rd, the guy is coming. Ted Musgrave is coming, Doc.
Musgrave is the man on a mission. 123 of 175 laps in the books. Crawford, the Ford is the leader. The Chevy is second, but that Dodge is pedaling in a hurry. There comes the Mopar Dodge of Musgrave.
He came from back in the 7th position after the restart after his last pit stop, and he is on the move now.
I mentioned that he's originally from Franklin, Wisconsin. He grew up in Northern Illinois, about 40 minutes north of Chicago. In fact, his mom still lives in Northern Illinois, about half an hour north of the city. And Musgrave hoping to be able to get win number 5. He has 4 wins. His teammate Scott Riggs has 4 wins. Ultra Motorsports 8 wins out of the 16 races we've had this year. Pretty dominant year for Dodge.
If last week he was awfully close to Scott Riggs, his teammate who won the race, he ran him down from about 9 seconds back and almost got to Scott at the end of the race. So we felt like he had a good shot to win that race. And you see that 5-lap interval, he gained on the leader. So right now you can see that there. You can see how he's gained on the leader.
That is 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, folks. Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, 14, 46, and 1 with 50 laps to go here in the Sears Craftsman 175.
Of these 3 right now, the only one that has a shot of going all the way on fuel is Ted Musgrave, because he pitted back on lap 87. The front 2 trucks, Rick Crawford and Dennis Setzer, did not pit, so it'd be interesting to see if how the fuel mileage is going with the Mopar Dodge.
We mentioned that Fred Wanke, who was the crew chief for Musgrave, was the winning crew chief for Joe Ruttman here a year ago when Ruttman won from the pole in the Dana Dodge. And speaking of Fred Wanke, let's talk to him, Amy.
Well, let's find out right from Fred. Fred, will you have to stop for fuel, or can you go the rest of the way, buddy?
Well, I don't know. Originally, when I stopped, I was pretty sure I could go all the way. Now I'm not as sure as I was, but I know the guys in front of me's definitely got to stop. So the Mopar Dodge is making so much horsepower of that Arrington motor, it's using some fuel. I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
If you did stop, would you just do a quick gas and go?
Yeah, we just spliced it.
All right, you guys, and when I walked up to Fred, he had his fingers crossed, so he's hoping for some good luck, and we may see him come down, or maybe we won't.
All right, Fred, at first they're confident. They say, well, I'm not really sure. Then they say, boy, I don't know. They got both fingers crossed. As you watch Riggs go by Ruttman a moment ago. Now here is Crawford going inside one of the lap trucks as he and Setzer and Musgrave continue the battle.
I think Ted Musgrave right now may be content following these guys. He knows they have to pit, so there's no sense pushing the issue, and he knows that he can go at least probably 15 laps farther from them because he pitted 15 laps after they did.
Well, Mobile, Alabama's Rick Crawford showing the way. The Milwaukee Electric Tools colors of Ford showing the way. Here's laps wind down in the Craftsman 175. NASCAR action on ESPN, Craftsman Truck Series style, exclusively here on the Worldwide Leader. And what action we have here in the final 45 laps at Chicago. Crawford stuck behind a lap truck as Setzer now will try to go between Crawford. They're 3 wide in turn 1. Setzer will take the lead. Rick Crawford got stuck in behind a lap truck. It'll be Setzer, Crawford, and Musgrave now as Setzer the leader. The latest truck to lead here, the 6th different leader today at Chicago Motor Speedway.
Great side-by-side action going into turn number 1 there. It looked like Rick Crawford was just done behind that lap truck. He pushed him out of the way and got up beside him.
And there is Jimmy Hensley, the MetLife Chevrolet, after a great run in the top 10 much of the day, now behind the wall here in the final 41 laps.
I think Jimmy was running about 12th right there. I looked a couple laps ago, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but obviously terminal.
Now Dennis Setzer pulling away by about 3 truck lengths over Rick Crawford. Remember, both Setzer and Crawford have to pit, and we're hearing that at least from Crawford's pits that they may be making their final pit stop around lap 150.
How about Kyle Busch right there? He's pulled back up into this battle. He'd fallen behind a little bit, but he's pulled right back now. There's Carlos Contreras. We're looking off out of his onboard. We're going to see Kyle Busch on the inside of him. There he goes right there. Carlos pulled over to the outside, let Kyle go. He knows he's a lead lap truck and going to let him get on with it.
Kyle Busch making only his 2nd NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start. If you just joined our coverage, he's 16 years of age. 16 years, 3 months, and 16 days to be exact.
He missed the mark. That's what got us here.
So we have Chevrolet, Ford, Dodge, and Ford. 2 Fords in the top 4, and it has not been the kind of year Ford wanted. They have not won a pole, not won a race. They had not led that many laps, although Crawford has led the most today. Side by side for 6th spot. Riggs on the inside. Travis Kvapil up high.
Scott got underneath Travis through the corner there. Going to try to race him down into turn number 3. Still side by side. Scott was able to get in the throttle a little bit quicker than Travis and able to beat him off the corner. See Scott wave at him, say thanks, Travis.
Well, let's go down to Ray and check in the Scott Riggs pits with his crew chief, Timmy Cahoot.
Timmy, we know that all the front 4 have to come back into pit. Are you going to be able to make it on fuel?
Our first calculation showed that we could. The second time we come in here and put the lefts on, it's showing that we're really close. I think we can make it.
Do you gamble?
Yeah, I'll gamble.
All right. So no pit stop scheduled for Scott Riggs, who just made the pass on Travis Kvapil. He currently moves up to 6th, but this could be a fuel mileage victory today, possibly, guys.
And asking Timmy Cahoot if he's going to gamble is like asking a duck if he likes to swim. I guarantee you, Timmy Cahoot, who's one of the great guys down in the pits, will gamble. He'll roll the dice in a heartbeat if it means having a shot to win this race.
Absolutely. Right now, I mean, they have to think about points, but they also want to win the race primarily.
All right, Dennis Setzer, the one they're chasing. Setzer, the winner this year in Memphis, Tennessee, a 6-time winner in NASCAR Craftsman truck action. Axiom Chevrolet, brand new truck for Morgan Dollar Motorsports and Danny Gill and company. There's Rick Crawford in 2nd spot, trying to hold off Ted Musgrave. It is Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge as we have 35 laps to go here at Chicago Motor Speedway. Back with the finish of the Sears Craftsman 175 in a moment. Back at Chicago Motor Speedway, we are 32 laps away from the checkered flag, and here's the scenario. Setzer is the leader, but he has to make one more pit stop. So does Rick Crawford in 2nd spot. They're not sure about Ted Musgrave. He may or may not be able to make it the rest of the way. Back in 3rd, Kyle Busch. Back in 4th, the Jack Roush, the Eldon Ford. He will have to pit. And the 29, well, we're still thinking about Terry Cook. He probably was okay.
He was one of the trucks that pitted on the ladder caution flag about lap 87, so there's a chance that he can make it. Scott Riggs, we know Tim McCoot said he's going to gamble. He's running in the 6th position right now.
So pit stops, we are being told, could be as few as 5 laps away. Give themselves 25 laps to try to scramble back up there. Here's Travis Kvapil in the 60 truck in Sprague, despite the fact that he spun and had damage, and the Net Zero Chevrolet battling back, trying to take the 7th spot away.
You can see a lot of damage to the left front. There's Willie T. You see he's got a flat left front tire right there.
And that will bring out the caution flag for the 4th time today, and that will allow these final pit stops under caution, but time will be critical. There's Dion Henske waving the yellow flag. 4th caution coming out on lap 147.
Now that doesn't necessarily. I wonder if the guys now, any of these guys, going to stay out. Even they think they have enough fuel. Will they stay out for the track position, or will they come down pit road anyway?
If they're close and we get enough caution laps, it may just be enough to stay on the racetrack. Now, if you're Fred Wanke, what do you do? Do you gamble? Do you leave Musgrave out there?
I think I have to have the figures in front of me to know whether I'm going to gamble or not. Now, Timmy Guth, we know he's a gambler, so
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if guys want to forsake pitting and being sure we're coming in.
Here comes Setzer and Crawford, and Musgrave will come in. Terry Cook, what a surprise, coming back in. Here's the 2 of Riggs. Triple split pits, 46, 14, and 1. We got Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge. Top of your screen, middle, and bottom. Let's go down to the Dennis Setzer pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, on the top we see Dennis Setzer. He'll be coming in, and this will be right side tires. Danny Gill has said we've got a truck that can win, so we've got to have a smooth pit stop. Jamie Goff changes the front tires. His brother Jay changes the rears. Rob Fife, the jackman, looks like pretty traditional stop here as they will do right sides. No chassis adjustment. Now to Amy.
Right side tires for the Milwaukee Ford. This is it. They want to get Ford the first win of the 2001 season. Right side, smooth stop. Everything goes good. And Ted Musgrave also on pit lane and has a nice smooth stop.
Wow, 3 great stops. And look at this race off of pit road. Danny Gill and company having a good stop for Setzer. Likewise, Rockin' Ray Stonkus and Rick Crawford and Fred Wanke and Ted Musgrave's crew. Great pit stops. And how about Kyle Busch in the Eldon Ford? The 16-year-old stayed on the racetrack. We'll check in and see what that strategy could be or what's unfolding for Jack Roush and company. Could a 16-year-old win it? We'll find out in just a moment. Our ESPN coverage of the Sears Craftsman 175 is being brought to you by Pure Later. Pure oil now, pure oil later. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Well, we have 26 laps remaining here at Chicago Motor Speedway, and a 16-year-old is leading. Kyle Busch did not pit in the Eldon Ford for Jack Roush Racing. More problems for Jack Sprague in the Net Zero Chevrolet. He has been on and off pit road. And we're going to show you here a moment ago.
That's an air hose dragging right there. That's why Jack had to come back on pit road. Got out in great position. Now he's all the way back to the last truck on the lead lap, which is 14th position. Can Kyle Busch make it all the way on fuel, Doc?
We'll find out in a moment. Getting set for the restart. Could Kyle Busch hold on and win in his second ever start in NASCAR Craftsman truck competition? Ron Hornaday won in his second start. Mark Martin won in his second start as a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver, but
they weren't 16 years old.
They were not 16 years of age, exactly.
He's just, you see him wiggling right there. He's just trying to clean off his tires. That's a veteran move right there.
16 years, 3 months, and 16 days. In 2 weeks, he goes back to school. I can see the note now. Dear Mr. Roush, please excuse Kyle Busch from racing today. He has a history test. Here's Dennis Setzer moving to the inside of the 73 truck of Lance Hooper. Well, let's check in the Kyle Busch pits and see if he can make it.
We're here with crew chief Jeff Campy. Jeff, do you guys have to pit again? Can you make it on fuel?
We can make it. It's gonna be close. We'll be on fumes, but we can make it.
Oh, they're going for it, you guys. They want to give Ford their first one, and how exciting would it be for the young Kyle Busch?
Boy, Jeff Campy and company, and they've got a huge contingent of folks from Eldon here. Eldon Rubbermaid, the sponsor of his brother, Kurt Busch, NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year efforts, and Kyle Busch is the leader.
Got a tough cat right there behind him, and Scott Riggs. You hear Kyle's crew chief, or spotter right now trying to coach him a little bit. You just want to hit your marks, stay on the bottom of the racetrack, and see what happens. Just try to keep that 2 truck behind you.
A veteran with 4 wins right behind him, chomping away. And a big gaggle of trucks behind him as guys are trying to make their way back up toward the front. There's Rick Crawford, who has led the most laps today. Crawford in the 14 truck, right in front of Terry Cook. They are in 7th and 8th spot. It's Kyle Busch the leader, then comes Riggs, then Setzer is third. Lance Norrick having a great run after qualifying third is being shown in 4th spot in the Aventis Bearing Chevrolet. Musgrave back in 6th. Travis Kvapil is 5th. Would this not be a story if this young man can hold on?
This would be incredible. I would dare say, I certainly don't know the statistics, but I would say he would be the youngest winner ever in a NASCAR Touring Center.
And Sports Center will be coming up next. We had rain this morning. We had about a 30-minute delay while I got the track dry. Those of you that have hung with us, thank you so much. You may see history being made in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series now. If you have never seen a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, folks, you are in for a treat here. Less than 20 laps to go at Chicago Motor Speedway. What a slugfest here, the final 20 laps.
Well, if Kyle wins this race, he wouldn't be able to spray champagne. I wouldn't think. He's not old enough.
And caution is on the speedway. It'd have to be ginger ale in victory lane. And one truck has spun around here. That is Larry Gunzelman, the Winston West Series veteran, and the Mike Midler Milwaukee Electric Tools. The Waterloo Tool Storage Ford for Gunzelman. That will bring out caution number 5 on the day.
A lot of damage right there to Larry Gunzelman's truck. Tough break for him. Got within 20 laps of the finish and a lot of damage.
Well, we'll reset the field and check on what happened to Larry Gunzelman and come back for the final laps and possibly history being made here in Chicago. Well, we are going a little bit long here at Chicago Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch trying to hold on to make history in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Folks, we are going to go a little bit long. Sports Center is coming up next. And for updates on what happens here today and some post-race interviews, you may want to check into RPM Today tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time and RPM Tonight at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's on ESPN2, RPM Today, and RPM Tonight tomorrow. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Well, here is a young man who will be a junior in high school out in Las Vegas in 2 weeks. He made his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start 2 weeks ago, was 4th quickest in practice, spun the truck, started back of the field in 36th spot at Indianapolis Raceway Park, came to the field like a veteran to finish 9th in his very first start. Folks, he has 12 late model stock starts this year. He has won 7 times, finished 2nd twice, 3rd twice, and had 1 mechanical DNF. In the last 2 years in Legends Racing, he has won 70 times and 140 starts. This young man is a talent, and he is just 3 months past his 16th birthday. Unbelievable.
I was talking to Jeff Campy, his crew chief. That was a shot of Jeff a few moments ago, standing on top of the war wagon there. And Jeff said this is the first time he has ever been a crew chief in any form of racing. And hopefully there he is right there on top of the war wagon, checking out the computer. Hopefully he's getting close to getting his first win as a crew chief in his first year ever as a crew chief.
And let's check down in their pits again with Amy.
Well, first of all, I think we should clarify for everyone that the 99 visited pit lane last on lap 87, so they indeed think that they can go this second half of the race without stopping for fuel. Now, Kyle is on the radio. We've been eavesdropping on the scanner, and it's very, very close to home for myself, having a 16-year-old brother. He's so nervous, you guys. He's so concerned. He wants to win this thing. The team is trying to calm him down, reassure him, explaining to him how these caution laps indeed are helping their fuel mileage. They're coaching him. They're telling him push in the clutch on the straights. Try to run at idle speed. So they are doing everything to try to bring home this victory for Eldon, Ford, and Roush, and also young Kyle Busch.
He is the son of Tom and Gay Busch. You can imagine what his mother is doing back in Las Vegas watching this one. He is the younger brother of current Rookie of the Year, Kurt Busch, as they bring the trucks down pit road. Once again, they're trying to be able to have time to clean up the front straightaway up there where a moment ago Larry Gunzelman spun to bring out caution number 5. There's Gunzelman's Waterloo Tool Storage Ford as they're trying to get that cleaned up there out of turn 4. And the points as of now, Joe Ruttman would retain the points lead by just 5 points over Scott Riggs. Jack Sprague back in 3rd spot. Quapple and Hendrick would stay 4th and 5th overall. And Ruttman would remain the points leader for the 2nd week in a row for the first time this year.
As Amy mentioned right now, this is great for Kyle Busch. They're saving fuel, and they obviously we're going to be close on fuel, as Jeff Campy told us. So they're saving fuel. The guys, you crew chiefs figure about for every 2 caution flag laps, that equals 1 green flag lap.
The last Ford to win a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series was October 28th of 2000, the finale at California. And who won it? Kurt Busch. You've heard of back-to-back wins. How about Busch-to-Busch wins?
Both in the number 99 Roush Ford.
And I think the Eldon folks have got to be jumping up and down, watching what's happening. They have a young man leading the show, and they have another driver in 10th spot. So 2 Eldon trucks in the top 10 for Jack Roush Racing with just 15 laps to go. Back at Chicago Motor Speedway. Coming up next just momentarily, Sports Center with John Buchagras and Neil Everett. Mickelson makes a run at the first major. Juan gone, surging Indians. And how about Brad Johnson stepping up for the Bucks? That and more coming up next with Sports Center with John Buchagras and Neil Everett. Here after the final laps of possibly a history-making run in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Glad to have you with us. I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Amy East. And a 16-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada. We are told that mom is indeed here, both Tom and Gay. His mother and father are in the grandstands watching as this young man, younger brother of Kurt Busch, who was the Rookie of the Year a year ago with 4 poles and 4 wins driving for Jack Roush. Kurt, of course, the most recent winner in a Ford in this truck last October at California. If you're Jack Roush and you're sitting in Michigan watching this thing, you got to be thinking, what an unbelievable talent. I got to go find Max Jones, who finds all these young talents. Max the Magician Jones, they call him. He goes out and finds all these young superstars, and I've got to give that guy a hug because what a job. There is John Wood, the son of Eddie and Carol Wood and grandson of Glenn and Bernice, the legendary Wood brothers family, 3rd generation. He is running in 10th spot in the Eldon Ford.
Had a great solid run all day long. It's really neat to see these two guys again, 16 and 19, and spend some time with them. It's a lot of fun.
Not especially good day for Jack Sprague. He was hoping to have a better day, but considering the fact that he has damage in the left front of his Net Zero Chevy, was involved in an incident spinning to bring out the 3rd caution flag today, he is being shown in the 11th position. 2 bad weeks in a row for Jack Sprague. This happened on lap 85 down in turn 1.
There he is on the inside of Rick Crawford trying to get by Rick. They were battling for the lead. And watch this move right here by Kyle Busch right there. He makes a little bit of contact, but if he wasn't heads up, got on the brakes, you saw him lock the brakes up, him possibly winning this race would not be possible.
Kyle Busch, who went to summer school from 7 in the morning to 8:15 at night. As you take a look at Joe Ruttman, the points leader, running back in the 9th position.
This restart is going to be extremely critical right now. He's got a good truck on the inside, Coy Gibbs. Now, will Coy let him go, get down into turn 1 before Coy? He needs to get a good restart, Doc.
And Kyle Busch has pulled up across the top of the racetrack.
Got to be out of gas. Got to be out of gas.
And his truck has come to a halt as the caution comes back out with just 12 laps to go. Busch pulled up right in front of Riggs to the high side of the racetrack.
Unbelievable.
Let's check in their pits. Amy, what's going on?
He's out of fuel. Can you believe that? That must have been the biggest miscalculation by Jeff Campy because these caution laps should have been helping them, and we were still 10 laps from the end of this race. So he's out of fuel, you guys. They're going to have to go get him. The fuel man and the crew running down to try to help top him off. NASCAR is now telling them, no, you cannot send the fuel guy down there. You have to make the truck come down to pit lane, come into the pit box, and get the fuel here on pit lane.
Amy, one of the things that really worked against Kyle right there, even though this racetrack is not banked much, the fuel pickup is in the right rear corner of the fuel cell. So, and when he's riding around on the racetrack, even though it's only 4 degrees in the corners, the fuel is running away from the pickup. He may actually have fuel in the fuel cell, but it's not getting to the pickup.
Unbelievable heartbreak for the 99 of Kyle Busch as the wrecker backs up to Busch's car and will pull him down pit road. He was 12 laps away from possibly getting a win. There goes Scott Riggs by the stalled machine of Busch, and there is Timmy Cahuth, who is the crew chief for the Ultra Motorsports CarQuest Team ASC machine field, passing by. Kurt Busch had led 17 laps.
I don't know why the tow truck is hooking up to the thing. All they need to do is push him. He's out of fuel. He doesn't need to be towed in. Just push him around the racetrack, push him to pit road.
Well, let's wonder about everyone else's calculations. If the 99 miscalculated, how about the 2? Let's check in their pits.
Timmy, as you look down there to turn number 4 and you see that 50 sitting there, does it make you nervous?
No, that doesn't make me nervous. It kind of, you know, this is unfortunate for them.
Yeah, but they pitted on 87 right when you did.
Well, I pitted after that. We can go the rest of the way.
Okay, so fuel is not an issue now for the 2. So Timmy says pretty confident.
All right, they should be okay on gas, and the 99 still sits down there hoping to be able to get, and I don't understand why they wouldn't just push that 99 down pit road and put some gas in and let him go.
It makes no sense. They're just laps are winding down while they're trying to hook this thing up. I don't know, just go down there and push the thing in. But everybody pitted except for Kyle Busch back on that last caution flag we had back on lap about 149 with about 25 laps to go. So that's why everyone else here should not have a problem whatsoever.
Okay, as we are 10 laps away from the conclusion, and once again a reminder, Sports Center coming up next. Big stories, Nicholson making a run at a first major, Juan gone, and the surging Indians, and Brad Johnson stepping up for the Bucks. John Buchagras and Neil Everett will have all the coverage of Sports Center coming up in just a moment or two. We had a delay at the beginning of today's race because of rain in the Chicago area, about a 25-minute delay to get the green flag started, get this race underway in the Sears Craftsman 175. And heartbreak for a 16-year-old. Unbelievable. 12 laps from the checkered flag. They've run out of fuel. Back with the restart in a moment. Well, a heartbroken youngster has been pulled back to pit road, and there the Eldon crew now tries to get some fuel in the truck. They're trying to get the truck unhooked quickly and get him back on the racetrack as they put some gas in the Eldon Ford for 16-year-old Kurt Busch. He will not be a factor to win, but he was a factor in this race, and a lot of people should remember his name for the future.
We may not see history made here, Doc, but we got a heck of a race on our hands. We just have a few laps to go. We're going to have about 7 laps to go when the green comes out.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Green.
All right, 8 laps to go. Riggs the leader. Setzer in second spot. Lance Norrick, who has never won a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race in the administering Chevrolet, back in third spot. And Travis Quapple, the rookie, back in fourth. He likewise has not won in NASCAR Craftsman Truck competition.
We got to tip our hat to John Monson, the crew chief on Lance Norrick's truck. He took fuel only on that last pit stop. That's why he's up as far as he is right now. See Jack Sprague moving on the inside of John Wood. A little contact. Jack's very sideways.
And Sprague right in front of John Wood. That is for position. Wood is in the 9th spot. Actually, that cost John Wood about 2 spots. He's back to 12th position. 7 laps to go. Make it 6 as they come by this time. There is the 90 car of Lance Norrick. Travis Quapple behind him. Then comes Musgrave. Then Crawford. That is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Terry Cook in the 29 and Joe Rubin in the 18, also right with that group. Travis trying to figure out a way to get around Lance Norrick. Travis has probably had a better truck than Lance Norrick most of the race, but right now Lance has track position. Here he goes. Look at Rick Crawford on the inside of Ted Musgrave coming off turn number 2. Terry Cook said, "Open the door, Rick. I'm going with you."
Crawford will move inside, or try to move inside of Musgrave. Can he hug the inside of the racetrack? Crawford does hug that inside line. Musgrave slips a little bit. Here comes Cook on the inside. It'll be 4 to go this time by.
Like I said, Terry keeps his nose up beside Ted Musgrave. Trying to get down in beside him as we go through turns 1 and 2.
Riggs the leader by about a truck length and a half over Setzer. Then about 15 truck lengths back to 3rd. With Norrick. Then 4th is Quapple. 5th is Crawford.
Terry able to make the pass on Ted Musgrave. Now Joe Rubin right behind him.
There's the lead twosome with 3 to go. Setzer trying to move in. Here is Norrick trying to get his best finish, career finish.
Most of these guys have fresh right side tires. Lance Norrick has almost 80 has actually over 80 laps on his tires.
It'll be 2 to go next time by in the Sears Craftsman 175 at Chicago Motor Speedway. Dodge showing the way. Chevrolet in second spot. Riggs, then Setzer. Another Chevy, the advantage choice. Lance Norris Chevy. Then comes Quapple, the rookie.
Rick Crawford trying to look for a way to get by Travis Quapple. Battle for the 4th position. Lance Norris doing a great job hitting his mark, staying on the bottom of the racetrack, not allowing Travis Quapple to get underneath him.
It'll be white flag this time by for Scott Riggs out of Bahama, North Carolina, driving for Ultra Motorsports, but they are swapping spots. Here comes Crawford looking to the inside of Travis Quapple. That's for 4th spot. The 90 truck of Norick is 3rd.
How about Terry Cook on the inside?
Cook on the inside of Crawford. That is for 5th position. Final lap at Chicago Motor Speedway.
2 Fords battle it out going down into turn number 3.
Great NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action. The checkered flag is waving out of turn 4 for Scott Riggs. And Riggs will win the Sears Craftsman 175. Setzer 2nd, Norick 3rd, Quapple. And they are side by side for position. What a race today at Chicago Motor Speedway. For Ray Dunlap, Amy Yeast, and Phil Parsons, I'm Jerry Potts. Once again, congratulating Scott Riggs on his win today in Chicago. Remember, next Sunday, we're in Nazareth, Pennsylvania at 12:30 p.m. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now let's go to our Sports Center studio with hosts John Buchagrass and Neil Everett. Sports Center coming up.